Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My fellow viewers, welcome to another episode of COVID-19 daily updates. Today, my guest will be Omar Saho, and we are discussing COVID-19 and livelihood diversification. But before then, as usual, I'll go to the numbers, the statistic about COVID-19 so far, and from there, we'll go to the main topic. And thank you for your time, and I hope you had a good weekend. Yeah, so I will go to the. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My go to the. Yeah, so Ahmed Manjang once again. Come here to share our today's topic, which is COVID-19 daily. So I'll go to the numbers so far of COVID-19. As you are all aware, COVID-19 first emerged in China in December 2019. And since then, there have been 3,620,000 infections and 250,000 deaths. So far, 1,178,984 recovered from the illness. And right now, there are 2,190,744 active cases. That is a number of people with COVID-19 infections. And out of that active infection, there are 2,140,833 categorized as mild. Omar, welcome. And 49,911 serious or critical. So in Mandinka quickly, Bari Lamoyral Nal Hakilo Bakang Nim COVID-19, Fundita China Banko Kang Wuhan City, Ube provinces in December Karo Kono, and Kabola Kana sign more 3,620,522 people, Wale Kura Onyin Soro, 250,789 were father so far. Yo mol meni alon ko kuran yin soro bari na da kende a obe mo million kilin mo wuli keme taworo wala nin sai mo keme kononto nin tan sai nin kononto yo mol meni alon ko right now kuran bo le obe mo million fula mo wuli tan konon mo wuli keme wuli tan kononto mo keme tan nanin nani yo wuli kono mo million fula mo wuli keme wuli tan nani ani mo keme senin tan saba nin saba wala courant be damin amandi kamba ke ka fo mi mile conditions yo bari ñun dole bi ye wol fon malon ko courant be la josi test lere ka positive ta ba courant kamin ka man commence ko ke la follow yo wol mile condition ol fana bol kono dole bi ye wol kundi molo mu toto mi alon ko alo ka jamfa ibika fembondi wala fiba mi alon ko bala kando wol ko so ba dol fanan bije ni covid courant nyin so da sa tare balo man kandi bika toto bari wati kilin dong ibika feng hen ibika feng serano ibika feng fanan tesno ila da ko kwela da yo out of that active numbers 49,000 or more will tan nanin kononto mo keme kononto ni mo tanin kilin wala courant be damin a serious kale yo mim la courant serious wol be damin wol sula da lockdown la man da lockdown na da mala bo intensive ya la ran wol sula da wala because courant ni hani sign jaral lantala yo banni ta to lockdown doctor wol kamin ke don because akamo fanya mi wolum naila kufka fatinya ibika fonyo futandino ila yelo kono 75% si wala kemo kono si nyata wala ni dul ni wo manke don ibalo la sufu dol bi se fo fonyo la ani ko kumas ka fa ya bol kono ila ko kilo ila bunyo kata ila kunke woni nyol fota fonyo la don atemela don asa mario fa so na ni ta do lokan ikama singol ta min be ko respect also nya ni ventilator pour que pure 100% oxygen ta ka force balo kono pour que balo la oxygen level min ka tanda nyanta fala level o min. So now I'm going to read you top 10 most affected countries in the world. I need to replace this. Yeah, these are countries that are top 10 most affected countries, and they are mainly very, very, very powerful nations. Omar, okay, I'll join you in a minute. Let me just finish this introductory part.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. So while I get you top 10 introductory part, what I normally also do, I go to the countries that are very, very close to Gambia. That means as long as those countries continue to have cases, Gambia is not safe. And well, it's not a case, question of being safe now. Gambia now have 17, is in double figures, and it is increasing drastically. But Senegal so far recorded 1,271 cases, and past 24 hours alone, they registered 89 new cases. Guinea-Conakry, which is now leading in our part of the world, registered 1,703 cases, and past 24 hours, they registered 24. Guinea-Bissau so far recorded 257, Burkina Faso recorded 662, and Mali recorded 580, plus 17 past 24 hours, they have 17 new cases, and Ivory Coast 1,398. There is one thing that I need to highlight here, that in recent times, Guinea-Conakry and Mali, they've been to the polls. It was Guinea-Conakry first at the beginning of March, and in the middle of March, Mali also went to the polls. And since that time, their numbers have been increasing steadily. They now overtake Senegal. Guinea-Conakry now overtakes Senegal, and Mali is coming very, very fast. Last week it was almost in the tens, but now it's in the hundreds again. So top 10 most affected countries, past 24 hours, America record 12,752 new cases and 523 deaths. And Spain recorded 1,179 new cases, 164 deaths. And Italy recorded 1,221 new cases, 195 deaths. UK recorded 3,985 new cases, 288. And France recorded 769 new cases, 306 deaths. Germany recorded 99 new cases and 13 deaths. Russia recorded 10,581 and 76 deaths. And Turkey recorded 1,614 new cases and 64 dead. And Brazil now right in the top 10. They overtake Iran now and China and Canada, which is very, very worrying, because this president, even earlier today, he was out and about. He doesn't seem to understand, the magnitude of this illness still. Brazil recorded 1,572 new cases and 81 dead, and Iran 1,223, 74 dead. So this is the situation, and these figures also you have to bear in mind. This was the trend since this is emerged. Mostly Monday the numbers will go down. This follows the weekend, but on Tuesdays again they will pick up again. So the total number of new infections past 24 hours for all the countries. Is 56,851 past 24 hours alone, and there were 2,658 dead. Okay, so that's the introduction, and Omar, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Omar, I forgot to send you one video which I have. I received about just an hour or a couple of hours before I come on air. It's from Gunjur. Is the inside of the golden lead, and you can see these porters collecting fish from the ozone and to the golden lead.
Yes, I was able to go through a couple of the short clips that people post online. Just I'm outside right now, but it is quite disheartening. It's very, very sad. The level of marine resource exploitation in the Gambia, basically there's pelagic fish in the Gambia. That is so sad. I couldn't just contain the emotion that I have at that time to look at, from Khartoum to Gunji to Sanya, and the level of environmental destruction in this area. Not only about the environment, but the livelihood of the Gambian people, because this is what average Gambians in the country rely on. So if there is strong competition right now for the export manufacturing companies in the country versus the local people in the Gambia who are in the remote part of the country, now we're talking about issue of food insecurity in the country. How safe is the Gambian people who are in the other part of the country? How sustainable is their livelihood? So this is, something very, very sad. I've gone through some of those videos posted by Kek Sanyang and then yourself, and as well as Lamin Jasi and then Mohammed Samba, Semika Jan, all posted some couple of videos. I was able to go, quickly scan through them. Hello? Hello?
Planning to have an uninterrupted electricity and water supply from solar energy in the Gambia and beyond? Worry no more, because Solar Enterprise will provide you with the solutions at reasonable cost. We have experienced personnel who can install and advise you about your electricity and water supply with a warranty period. We have good quality solar products from North America and Europe. We provide services and sell products to individuals, organizations, institutions, private offices, communities, and government. These products are solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, water pump, water heaters, freezers, submersible pumps, and general solar accessories. Visit our stores at 48 Kairaba Avenue and Brusubi Highway, or you can call us on 7657 479 980-8483, 340-9400 or 635-9906.
Hello.
Hello, yes.
Yeah, sorry, my network just went.
Yeah, that's what I realized.
So you can introduce yourself on the topic, and we can go from there. What I was talking about, the level of fish, the number of fish, the amount of fish being processed in Gunjur and also other fish meal factories is just unbelievable, and also the risk to the general public, because the Senegalese fisher folk continue to flood into our country to sell their fish and return back unchecked. This is a big worry, but today is all about livelihood diversification. Go ahead, please.
Yes, since we are talking about livelihood diversification, we might even touch down on the fisheries sector. We're going to touch down on agriculture and also talk on the tourism aspect of the economy.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the livelihood diversification, it's looking at what sort of livelihood portfolios or activities can households, individuals, communities develop to be able to strengthen their economy, giving them a wider option of having an income, household income, to be able to increase their income ability and capability. So this is where you're talking about livelihood, what sort of activities a particular individual does, what sort of activities does a particular household. You talk about a father, a mother, and then their kids. What do they do for their living? You look at a village also, what does a particular village also does for them to be able to have at least an income from a particular activity. So if you talk about diversification, how do we diversify that? How do we go in for different activities within that community, within that village, or within a particular country, so that they can be able to sustain themselves financially and as well as socially?
Okay.
Yes. So it looks at the various policies, the various programs, the various legislations. Oh, sorry about that one. We just messed up. Yes. All right. So this is all about livelihood diversification. So if you look at the videos coming out from the Gambia, that is one aspect of the discussion today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's brilliant. So, as you say, maybe we might even start with these activities going on in Gunju. We've seen recently some other political parties, other CBOs across the country, taking it upon themselves to distribute rice, across the country. But that food doesn't include protein, and this is the most essential part of our diet. But we've
Yeah.
seen the fish meal producers continue to extract this vital commodity at an alarming rate, and as the today's video so it's just not a successful. What is your take on that?
Well,
What do
my
you
take,
think?
if you look at the Gambia's economy, the most essential services we have in the country that earn some income for our GDP is three major areas. They are the main drivers of our economy. That is the fisheries sector. You talk about tourism and agriculture. So if you look at fisheries now, with all the fish landing sites in the Gambia, the boats have to register. The ice plants in the country also have to bring in some money through the processing of fish that they do in those facilities. All of those things bring money. But right now, what we are seeing in the country is private sector enterprises trying to at least leverage their license on the entire industry. Because if you look at from Khartoum, from Sanya, from Gunjur, you look at other landings. These are the only places, three major communities, it's Gunjur, Khartoum, and Sanya, that are privatized. Because what is
Yeah.
being consumed, all these factories, is not consumed in the local fish landing fisheries centers in the country, like the ice plants in the country. So who's
Yeah.
benefiting here? Is it the Ghanaian citizens, or is it the companies who are benefiting from here? So this is where we at least sit down on the table, analyze and reevaluate some of the license we issue to these people here. Because you talk about Gambian people being employed in the fisheries sector, you're talking about they have to own the boats, they have to own the transport systems like the trucks, the ice trucks. They have to also establish markets in the hinterland of the country, in the provincial part of the country, whereby they can establish those markets, they can do this, the distribution for the fish landing to these communities. All of those things create employment for somebody on the value chain. So it's creating livelihoods for people who are fish smokers, who are doing fish drying, who are doing the transportation, who are selling things on a small scale in those communities. So if you talk about COVID-19, yes, CBOs, the civil society organization, private individuals, they are trying to respond to support households in the country, but is that sustainable? Can we upscale that kind of service provision for our Gambian people? What is the sustainability of this particular donations we are giving to the community? Are we going to keep on doing that? So this is why today we come up with this topic about livelihood diversification. People who depend predominantly on agriculture, what is the way forward for these people? People who depend on tourism, what is the way forward for these people? People who depend on fisheries, what is the way for these people? What sort of infrastructure do we need in the country? What sort of regulation do we need in the country? What sort of government policies do we need in the country to be able to support that diversification process?
Okay. That's great. I think it is clear these fish meal factories are not benefiting anybody. And even the minimal job opportunities they provide, you see them running their undocumented migrants. They're not even Gambians, so that's not in any way benefiting Gambians. But what is even more important is the taking the protein source, our keepers and storage source of protein, away from the locals and exporting it into, turn it into powder as animal feed and exporting all of it. So,
Well,
coming back to this,
that is the food, that is the nutritional aspect of that one. But let's talk about employability. What sort of opportunity
employment.
Ugandan people have? Because if we are trying to,
Yeah.
go into the ocean, that's one aspect. Yes, they were able to provide employment for the people within all the coastal communities in the Gambia. But what of the local Gambian people who used to do fish smoking in the country, who used to do fish drying in the country, who used to transport this fish from the local communities into the hinterland of the country? The other implication is out migration. People who are in the rural area, if they don't have lumos where they are able to sell their fish, if they are not having this local bananas who are able to sell the fish in those remote areas in the country, they're gonna migrate. You're gonna have young people, you're gonna have people who depend on that business to come down to the coastal communities. So that's what you call the issue of out migration. So then the urban areas in the country, the coastal communities in the Gambia are going to be congested. And this thing might some sort of security issues down there, because you're going to have all kinds of different people who are floating our coastal communities, which is going to put another pressure on the security side of the sector, which means there's going to be too much surveillance, there's going to be patrols, there's going to be crimes, there's going to be other unnecessary things down there in those coastal communities because of what their livelihood is undermined in their own various communities. So if you tend to look at development, if you tend to look at livelihoods, because people have to get an activity whereby they can earn their survival, and so long they don't have that one, it's going to force them, it's going to trigger all issues which are going to detriment our development endeavors.
Yeah, Omar, thank you very much. Coming back to our main topic, livelihood diversification. You mentioned a certain sector. What's next for them? Because we know COVID-19 came right in the middle of Gambian tourism season, and since then we have seen the tourism sector is completely destroyed. So, what do you think is the way forward for people who are working in the tourism sector now? They are unemployed, and the hotel owners also lost their businesses, and those in the airline industry also are currently sitting at home. So, what do you think is the way forward for these people?
Well, the way forward, I think both the government and the private sector enterprises in the country, they need to look at certain new kind of strategies in the country. If I talk about strategies, if you look at the Gambia tourism industry, it's predominantly, inbound, in the simple sense that we depend on international travelers in the country. So long there's, some security issue or some health issue or some economic, crunch down there, our tourism is undermined. It happens in 1994 when there was a military coup in the Gambia. It happens in 2016 when there was change of regime in the Gambia, because the tourism industry is subjective to some of these, security issues, some of the health issues, some of the economic issues happening around the world. So right now we need to change, we need to diversify from being purely independent or dependent on international travelers. But how do we ensure we promote domestic tourism in the Gambia? How do we ensure we promote the event industry in the Gambia? Whereby Gambians are not only going to work in hotels as chefs or as waiters or waitresses trying to serve the international market, but they can also create a market for the local people, the local communities. That Gambian people, if they have their naming ceremonies, if they have their weddings, if they have their other parties, they can work in their hotel, make a reservation, and host that event in those facilities too. But at least the livelihood will not be only being the service sector for the tourism industry alone, but also to serve the event industry of the Gambian people. That's one aspect of it. Those who are working in the industry, the government have to ensure at least Gambians doesn't have only one skill, because we need to provide capacity building for people, not only in one sector, but in various sectors. If you are trained as a bar attendant, if you are trained as a chef or as a waiter or hotel receptionist, that should not be the only skill for you to depend your entire livelihood on. But you should have at least a second career, a second alternative option that you can have. Based on that one, if this other industry is not moving, you can have somewhere to hang on before you are able to at least revert back to this other previous one. So it's more about capacity building program, creating the necessary financial support for people, and as well as ensuring that there is market infrastructure in the country where people can just move from one angle to another sector of the economy.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I'm not sure if Ahmad Ba, because the most important person in all days since these things started, I don't think there was a single statement from him or the tourism sector, which is very, very heartbreaking, because our tourism sector, I think, is probably our biggest foreign exchange earner and employ large number of Gambians. So if that should go into insolvency in the middle of the season, I think we need an emergency response from our minister. But so
Well,
much for that.
what actually happened was the tourism industry in the Gambia have two major issues this last season. One was the issue of the 3 years journal that was going around that time, because there was a lot of travel advices from the the UK travelers, people coming from Scandinavia, another part of Europe, that there are a lot of like issues going on in the Gambia. They have to be mindful. So that has impacted the tourism industry.
That's the 3 years journal.
Yes, come the COVID-19 issue. When COVID-19 also happened, the 3 years then was more about security, travel. COVID-19 was about the health, the health advices. The UK travel advice, there was advice in the UK, in Europe, and then in America here, that people who are traveling to Africa, they have to be mindful, or the country started repatriating their citizens. So these two issues have affect the local Jewish presence in the Gambia, people who are like, owning their own small scale business in the country, because they have to pay their operational license to operate in a particular season. So if you don't have any money within these 5 months of the season, where are you going to survive for the rest of the 7 months? If you are employed by hotels, on a seasonal base, if they don't have the income to sustain you, they're going to put you on the redundancy. Where are you going to earn your living till the next season? Are you going to be guaranteed of the job security to be able to be absorbed into the season again next year? So this is why people in the country, whether it's going to be the government, whether it's going to be the private sector enterprise, whether it's going to be the institutions in the Gambia, we have to ensure that we train people, provide a capacity training for them, not only in one area. Does the families have the support? Does relatives have the support? This is a big question that everybody in the country have to put their hand on the desk. They come up with new strategies and ideas to see how best we can come up with like some innovative ideas to solve this issue. Do we need to at least strengthen the technology system in the country, whereby some of these issues can be addressed?
Okay. Omar, we run out of time. I think we need to go to agriculture. You mentioned in your introduction, people going around giving out rice, and the government also coming back with a lot of rice. Are we going to continue doing that? I think the most sustainable way is to invest in agriculture, to encourage farmers to plant early ripening things and all that. What's your take on that one? What can we do as for the agriculture so we can mitigate the effect of this global pandemic famine we are facing?
Well, I talked to a couple of friends around that in the Gambia we should stop importing rice. We should stop importing rice into the country, because we got the land, we got River Gambia. All what we need is trying to get the political will. They got the financial support to be able to revitalize the agricultural sector. Climate change is down there. Right now we're talking about COVID-19. What the Gambian farmers need to get is people who can try to sensitize them. That is one thing about what kind of seeds they can grow in the country. They cannot depend on subsistence agriculture just to feed their family. No, we don't mechanize the agriculture industry for large-scale production. And this thing cannot be done without having the trained personnel, without having equipment, without having the funding, without having the right seeds, and without having the processing centers in the country that can be able to process those rice and package them. Because doing the planting is one thing, taking care of the crop is one thing, and processing the crops is another thing. Because otherwise, if you have large-scale production in the country, there's no processing centers in the country. There's what is going to be post-harvest loss. Those harvests we have in the country, if there's no market infrastructure to distribute them from the farmland to the urban areas of the country, there's going to be loss either from the grain weight or from the nutritional value of it. They can have birds can attack these crops. So the government have to look at all those things. The issue of capacity building training, capacity building for farmers, having agricultural research centers in the country, providing financial support, and make sure there is seeds. People have to study the seeds. And if you ensure there's market infrastructure, if you harvest your things from the farm, you can be able to transport them into the urban areas. If Gambia have enough in the country for food, then we can think of where can we export the rice and the vegetables in the country.
Yeah, that's a very, very, very sound policies, and I hope our government go into some kind of thing. But I'm doing on personal level, and we can all do is to encourage our families back.
Right now, we're talking about COVID-19. People have to buy a bag of rice and give to the Gambian people because rice is something that can be grown in the Gambia. That's supposed to be something different. It's supposed to be something. If you look at places like Thailand, Japan, Singapore, Malaysia, no, sorry, not about Singapore, but if you talk about Japan, Thailand, and even China and Taiwan, in the 60s, 80s, they were able to invest heavily on agriculture. They make sure that irrigation facilities, because we have River Gambia. If you go down all the way to Jahal, Pachar, Sapo, all the way going down to Basi and all of those areas, it's all fresh water. How do we pump that water from the River Gambia to the agricultural lands? How do we distribute the water to the farmers? How do we ensure these farmers, they don't depend on using the local hose, but they can use power tillers and tractors? How do we ensure that there's packaging, they can process this rice and put them into the packages and distribute them? How do we ensure there's vehicles to transport those rice from the farm to the main marketing centers? And how do we incentivize them? Give them the money that they need with subsidies and grants.
Okay, thank you very much.
If the government cannot do all this alone by itself, this is where I'm going to have the public sector, the public-private sector, collaboration. They can, invite the government people who can become investors who are living in the diaspora. They can chip in. If the governments cannot do it, they can invite other nationalities to come into the country and follow the due process in the country and invest in the agricultural sector.
Yeah, those are brilliant point. And as I said, we are running out of time. The other sector that is suffering very much is the forestry. As you are aware, all these people who lost their jobs in the hotels, in the airport, and all that. If they can't pay their rent, what they do normally, they will go to their villages. And once in the villages, the only opportunity there is to go to the forest and cut trees for firewood or charcoal. So what do you think our government can do to make sure that the heavy dependence on our forest cover for cooking and ironing and other things is curtailed? Because without any other substitute, I don't think there is no way we can get over it. But our forest cover is disappearing, at a very alarming rate.
Well, that's very frustrating right now, because look at the forest cover, the type of trees being cut in the Gambia. Do they go into the Gambian people in the country? Most of the time, not. If you look at rosewood, for example, if you look at mahogany, for example, those ironwood, because you have the rosewood, you have the ironwood. There's less ironwood in the country right now. That's the locality, what they call Kembo. Kembo is now very scarce in the country. But you travel around the world, in Europe, in America, you look at people like high luxury goods. Furniture are made from the ironwood or the rosewood. So what the Gambian people have to do is, if we cannot stop deforestation, if we cannot stop cutting down the trees, the Department of Forestry have to make sure they have stringent policies in place, whereby people have to abide by those rules through their lancing the Gambian people, and then different tree species size. Which type of tree species can they cut? They cannot just go into the forest and cut whatsoever they feel like, but they can use certain size of trees that can be cut. And then they have to go with the forestry officer to go into the bush and ensure that, yes, Omar or somebody have to cut this particular species, but this is the dimension we give to the individual. If it's for local use, we have to also identify a zone. Which zone can we now permit for people to go and do logging? Which other areas do we have to reserve for this number of years so that the ecosystem, the forestry cover can bounce back? You cannot just go to Combo area, you cut down the trees, you go down the Kiang and cut down the trees, go to Nyem and cut down the trees. No, we have to get a system in place. Zoning have to be in the place, whereby we can allow people to go to a particular place and do the deforestation down there, cut down the trees, a specific number of trees, and that's it. And we have to also control what is the market out there, what are the triggering factors? Is it because of poverty? If it's because of poverty, how do we address that kind of issue? People who depend on this industry here, is this only their livelihood source? That is the problem, yes. What else can we do for them?
Yeah, those are good points. Omar, I was debating with somebody. Senegal and Mauritania, they are sitting on lot of these butane gas. And I understand they've been given into Gambia government on subsidy basis, but the Gambia government is actually selling it to Gambians, with a very high margin of profit. Don't you think if the government, leave that subsidy and let the citizen have it at a cheaper rate, don't you think that will take pressure off the forest cover, like the butane gas?
One more time.
Yeah, I mean Senegal and Mauritania, they are sitting on lot of butane gas. These cooking people use for cooking, and it's very cheap in Senegal. And I understand from this boy Madiba's Singate's interview with Fafa Sanyang, the petroleum minister, that actually Senegal is giving the gas to Gambia on subsidiary basis. It's cheap, but the Gambia government now is selling it to the citizens. Don't you think if Gambia government leave that subsidy there and make it available cheap to the Gambian citizens, don't you think that will take some pressure off our voice?
Yes, that is one aspect of the whole energy, thing. Because what is that butane gas used for? It's used for cooking in the Gambia.
Yeah.
And then if you look at like the firewood being harvested from the Gambian bushes, it's used for cooking in the Gambia.
Yeah.
But if you have been in the UK for quite a number of years, you are in Saudi right now sometime. People are no longer using firewood. They have alternative source of like energy. In the Gambia, what is the cheapest source of energy in the country? The most available source is solar energy. Can we not have like solar cooking stuffs in the country? Can somebody not look at that alternative technological sources? The amount of subsidy that's going to be like pumped into having like butane gas to be able to like have that transition of using the firewood to butane gas can be put into research, can be put into like an alternative, cheap source of energy, so that Gambian people can have like cooking stuff, solar energy, cooking power energies, whereby they can cook using the sun energy in the country. They ensure they have solar panels. They can ensure at least they store the energy they have and be able to at least cook their food. People have to transition. We need to migrate from this old-fashioned of things to at least contemporary approach of doing things.
Yeah.
Europe was before depending on like forest cover, they do logging, they do dumbering and all of those stuff. But now they have graduated from that period of portion because somebody is doing the research, somebody is listening, somebody is supporting the policy, and somebody is implementing the policy from one angle.
Yeah,
so
unfortunately,
when I was
in our community.
Yes, when I was growing up in Gunju, almost everywhere have forest cover. You go to the local bush, you can have like 2-3 donkey carts of firewood. But right now, you have to go deep into the forest to be able to at least have one donkey cart of firewood. What is happening? Is that the way people are going to struggle? No. What is the way forward now? This is what we're supposed to be thinking right now.
Yeah, thank you so much. So with that, we come to the end of this program. Unfortunately, because of Ramadan, we have to cut the time. What will be your closing remarks, if you would want to say anything to
Well, the closing remark is, I am so sad today because of the videos coming out from Gambia about this business sector and all of those stuff. And then the most unfortunate aspect is, when they came down to Gunjur, the National Assembly members in the Gambia, they are the legislature. Government is one of the three arms. You have the legislation, you have the executive, and you have the judiciary. So today, one arm of our government going down for a patrol, going down for sightseeing, fact-finding mission, and then the Chinese people are trying to downplay the whole system. Do you know what that guy was saying to the other one, the one who's translating? When the guy who is from the Gambia talking to him about the records, before the guy even finished, he was like, Mayor. Mayor. That's in Chinese means like, tell him we don't have it. So which means he vitally understands what people are asking. And then they know that's not possible. You cannot run a company without not having records. How are they paying the people who are carrying the fees? How many amount of money do they know that this is what we need for today? So they cannot try to downplay the system in the Gambia. Gambians are not dumb enough. So my final message is, whether it's Ministry of Agriculture or it's Forestry or it's Fisheries, let them have Gambian people who knows about these people. Don't just employ people because of political gains. There are Gambians who have lived outside, who knows the Europeans, who knows the Americans, who knows the Chinese people, because they have been with them, who can speak their language. So the main barrier today with the Gambian, National Assembly Select Committee and the Chinese was, language, because what the guy was translating is not what they are even relating to these people. I was here, I listened to those videos, I know what they are saying, it's all crap, So, maybe I have to come one day and speak in Chinese to these people to understand what they are talking about. They cannot try to put us in our own country. They have to go with the laws in the country, So it is just so sad. Because, man, it's just so unfortunate. It's just so unfortunate.
Yeah, it's very sad. Very, very sad. Yeah, thank you very much, Omar, for your time. Yeah, that's very, very sad what is happening in Congo coastal communities. Yeah, thanks you guys. Till tomorrow. We will be back here again, inshallah, tomorrow. And thanks for your time. And please share these videos so it can get to as many people as you can.
So that's the whole thing. That's so sad. Maybe next week we'll talk about those, or maybe sometimes tomorrow or sometimes during this week, we can talk about the fisheries sector, and I'll be able to translate what that guy was saying in Chinese from word to word. When this guy talked about the data, he was like, no, they know that, it's not possible. Because I don't know. Somebody had to record a video and people Chinese people and we're talking Chinese for them to understand. They're not dealing with dumb people. People who understand what they are doing in the country.
I know.
Yeah.
And I think you watched the one in Senegal as well. So you can see how they are taking, they're going into sectors which no country should allow that,
Well, I watched the Senegalese YouTube that was said by Panderimba yesterday, the 11 minutes, thing. So the opposition leader in Senegal, what he was saying, these are like strong allegations. It was like Chinese people will come to the Gambia, they'll have the Gambian national ID, they'll have their fishing trawlers be licensed in the Gambia, and they'll go into the Senegalese fishing water to go and do fishing in Senegal. You see? So a couple of weeks ago, I wrote something on Facebook. I think I was speaking on Facebook. If you look at the poverty reduction strategy paper, the Gambia and Senegal, they have a memoir whereby Senegalese fishing boats can come to the Gambian water and do fishing in the Gambia. And Gambian fishing boats can go into Senegal and do fishing in the Gambia and in Senegalese water. So these are the legal, these are the policy implications that the two countries have signed. So today we cannot just go and say the Senegalese fishing boat cannot come to the Gambia, whilst there are some documentation, while there are some things in ink, in black and white. We have to go and undo some of those agreements and tell people that can be possible. If these two countries have signed some of those agreements, today we cannot just jump up and say, oh, you know what, this thing cannot be done. So this means somewhere there is a legal failure somewhere, there is some sort of a gap somewhere. Until and unless we go and scrutinize some of those gaps, we cannot have strong justification, we cannot have strong agreements. Today, if you want to talk about the Chinese people, who jumped the lancet at the first place? It's the Gambia government who jumped the lancet at the first place.
Exactly.
The Chinese people also have to know that in the Gambia, we have people who are like the executives, who are in the legislature, who are like working in the national parliament. They are the ones who make laws. These people are not crazy enough. In their own country, somebody from their government talking to them and they want to deny. I was in Taiwan for 6 good years, 6 damn 2 good years. I was with them. So they have to understand some of those legal implications. It's just too sad. It's our people who fail us. If you see this Chinese people now, dragging us back and forth, they know that the legal systems in Gambia are not strong enough, so we can do whatsoever we feel like and go about with it. Because before they have the license in the country, they have to tell the government what is their quota, how many percent of fish can they catch in the Gambia, how many percent of fish can they process in the Gambia, and how many amount of fish can leave the source of the Gambia for export. Somebody has to do the monitoring. Somebody has to collect the data almost every day. Somebody has to collect the data and report that data, and that data have to reflect on our GDP to know, yes, we have factories in the country. This is the amount of money that we are having from these factories every year or every month. The government has to get the data. How many percent of Gambian people are employed by these industries? What is the employment rate?
We have not even next week, maybe sometime in the middle of the week we can come back. You can come back again and we can continue this discussion.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. So guys, please share these videos for us, and so you can get to as many people as you can. And tomorrow, inshallah, we are back again with a different topic. Thank you. Sorry about today's disruption. It's about the internet. It keeps going on and off. My sincere apologies. Wow, okay, welcome. Thank you.
Planning to have an uninterrupted electricity and water supply from solar energy in the Gambia and beyond? Worry no more, because Solar Enterprise will provide you with the solutions at reasonable cost. We have experienced personnel who can install and advise you about your electricity and water supply with a warranty period. We have good quality solar products from North America and Europe. We provide services and sell products to individuals, organizations, institutions, private offices, communities, and government. These products are solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, water pump, water heaters, freezers, submersible pumps, and general solar accessories. Visit our stores at 48 Kairaba Avenue and Brusubi Highway, or you can call us on 7657 479 980 8483 340 9400 or 635 9906.
See